it is in my attempts, it is to stimulate a particular kind of thinking process that you generally are not accustomed to. It is to bring about something new, a new way in which we see the world is an important thing. We cannot look at the world in traditional ways, in those ways that we have looked at it all of our life, because it is that way that is incorrect at this point in your life. It was not incorrect initially, simply because the child coming into this world had to focus on this line of reality for its own protection, for its own survival. That has been solidified many, many years ago. Now we must begin to look at the world differently. We must begin to loosen the other connections that you have set up, to shake them loose, to give fluidity to your ego or your mind. Consciousness is already fluid. There is much information that you have. One of the reasons that much of what I say makes sense to you is because in a corner somewhere, the fluidity of your being has provided you with much information. And your ego, being material orientated or traditionally orientated, has not made use of the information that the fluid portion of your consciousness has given you. So you've kind of stored it in a corner somewhere. So when this is said to you, you say, yeah, that makes sense. Well, it makes sense because you already have the information. You already have it. It is a part of your nature. Now, the key is to make sense of it. The logic of our universe is not the logic of your mind. It is different from what you think it is. Again, we will use the first distortion. Coming into flesh distorts truth. What is the number of unity? 1. 1 is the number of unity. 1 is the number of God. Look around you. Begin to count the numbers of people. That's far enough. Did you get to 2? There is a distortion. 2 is the number of division. So you see, you have a natural distortion. What is it that has to be done? Well, there is only one. There has never been more than one. So what we must shake is the illusion of 2. Does this make sense? Therefore, we must begin to think in different ways. So, what you are embarking upon is a great study. But you must study it differently than you have taught yourself to study. Generally in school, you've had to memorize. Memorizing is only a small aspect of this process. You have to remember what is said to use it to gain the experience of what is said. It is the experience that makes the difference. I had a discussion, I believe it was yesterday. I once got in a little hot water. I was teaching a class in, I believe it was, methods of teaching. And at the end of the course, Dr. Dave, who was the teacher of the course, asked me if I had anything to say. And I said yes. To the students, I said, some of you should consider another line of work. Well, that of course put me in a little trouble because you should not say that. But yes, it is true, because they were not capable of experiential learning and therefore have a greater concept of what it is to learn and thereby have a better concept of what it is to teach. Yeah. To memorize, you run into problem children because they do not fit what you have memorized. But what you must understand is there are no problem students, there are problem teachers. Problem teachers, why? Because they refused in their own learning process to experience the learning of the concept. They took the easy way, to memorize and repeat back, thereby not becoming learners. And not becoming a learner, you cannot be a teacher. First things first. You must learn the experience of that which is to be taught. Then there is no problem. In team teaching with individuals, they would often become very upset with me. Says, how is it you can take almost everything and relate it to to a concept? How is it you can do that? I feel put down. And I would say there's no need to feel put down. There is need to expand your awareness, because it is that ability within me that allows me to listen to what a student is saying and relate it to the concept we are discussing, thereby giving that student a handle within themselves to use according to their experience and understand it from inside out, and thereby understand all of the little areas that extend away from that center. Does this make sense? So in a psychology class, I would relate to physics. If a student had a bent toward physics. In a class in logic, I would relate to any idea that they had. No matter how far afield it seemed to the other person, you see, as a teacher, I cannot stand there and say, you come over here. I must go over there and get you by the hand and say, come on. Here. Yes, from where they are. This is the advantage to experiential understanding. You see where it all fits, and you are able to help. And ultimately, from their presentation, which was unique to them, we expand it so that it is common to everybody, so that everyone can understand it if they wish. Because there is a common understanding. In certain ways, we have taken our personal uniqueness to extremes, in that we do not believe that there is law, but there is law that is common to the existence of all life. Therefore, the individual is absolutely important and absolutely not important. There is a balance. You are important as who you are, but you are not so important to be contrary to the law. It is like saying, I am super important, I am indestructible, I will walk into this burning building. Well, you see, there comes a point when the individual is not important, that the law is important, if the individual is to survive.